Today on Hollywood Movie Title V5 series, we're going to be looking at the animation style of The Great Gatsby. We will make this fabulous title style, using Cinema 4D for the modeling of the logo and After Effects for the final composite. The real purpose of this tutorial is to get the logo from the drawing 2D to 3D modeling. Now, we see a small logo, but if you zoom in, believe me, the level of detail is really impressive. Once you know the secrets on how to get the logo with all its moldings, the rest of the design of the background will be automatic. This title animation is very interesting, and the Art Deco concept image design is very elaborate. Look it on screen and follow me. At the end of this tutorial, you can learn how to draw and animate your own title with Cinema 4D and After Effects. The actual example of The Great Gatsby is just for training purposes and is not to be used in a final personal project without permission from the original creators. OK, open the file, start on Cinema. This is the complete design of the logo. As you can see, every single letter has a lot of details in it, but the interesting thing about this logo is that each letter the details are many different, but in spite of this style is repeated linearly. In the G letter, in addition to the embellishment details, we also have two thin rectangles with inside the prefix text The Great. In all the other letters, as I said before, the moldings style are repeated linearly. It's very important to mention that the basis of the letters is a commercial font, which has been specially modified for the poster design of this film. Only the 3D modeling, it returns all the details with an incredible result. However, let's start with the 2D drawing to get the necessary splines, for to work well in 3D with Cinema. In this case I chose the letter G, but the technique is the same for all letters. OK, open your vector drawing software and create a new document size, 250 pixels. With the oval tool, insert a circle in the center of the document. With the crop tool, apply two strategic cuts, one at the top and one at the bottom right. Delete. And with the pen tool we complete the line of the G letter in this way. Duplicate the spline and apply a different color, so it will be easy to find. Cut the outer parts of it that way. Now on your drawing software you have to use two essential tools: the expand path and the concentric paths. Select the blue spline, duplicate and apply an expansion of 17 pixels. Then on the first track apply an expansion of about 10 pixels. These two tracks are the outside and inside of the bevel of the letter. Now duplicate the center red line and repeat the last step. OK, in the first duplicated spline, apply the concentric paths tool in uniform mode, with steps 5 and margin of 1.05. Incredible! With just one click, you can have an incredible result. But the work is not complete. All paths must be separated properly. The fastest way is to cut this way the outer parts. Delete. Now we must join 2 by 2 the splines, and close them as a separate path. On good old freehand, for merge we have the shortcut, Command J, and this check, for close. This step takes a few seconds. Now, each red line is a separate path. To complete this interesting technique, we apply the latest cuts. Follow me on screen. Select all paths and apply a single cut. One at the bottom, and one at the top. Remove what is not needed. And as we can see, we have got the basis of the G letter. It is very important to apply all these values, in a document size of 250 pixels. Otherwise you can personalize this technique with other parameters to fit the width of your logo. We have the inside and outside part, and all separate paths style Art Deco. OK, we can export the drawing as Illustrator files. So as we said before, after the preparation of the paths of the letters, we can continue the work on Cinema. This is the final logo with all details. Wonderful! The 3D final result is honey for the eyes. We complete the work of transformation of 2D drawing in real 3D. Do you remember, this is the initial design obtained. I've already renamed and organized all layers. First of all, prepare the basis of the letter. We select the inside and insert in the Z position. -20. We make sure that both have the same position on the first set point. We apply the loft NURBS. Set the subdivision of 300. Before working on the lines, on Caps panel on End set only fillet mode. With step and radius, 5 and 0.1. In order to have a small rounded corner that will work fine with the chrome material. Group the 5 paths lines and apply an extrusion with active the check hierarchical. For the depth, insert -20. View the result. Great. If you prefer a softer line, you can apply the fillet cap with the same values. Is good for me. As you can see, with this technique you can prepare the basis of design on Illustrator, CorelDRAW or freehand, and then complete the job with the 3D. But I want to show how you can work directly on the rig molding on Cinema. This is the basis of the letter that you already know. Remember the center line? Perfect. This is very important because with this method, will serve as main binary. We insert a rectangle and set the measures, 1 to width and 20 to height. Convert it to a polygon object. We select all the points and apply a chamfer, with radius 0.1. Apply on it the cloner tool. And in X panel, we insert the value, 2.15. And bring the number of clones to 5. Repeat the conversion in a polygonal object, but in this case should be grouped into a single object. Keep in mind this trick: if we select them, we are told in the bottom the value of the center on X. This is useful, because since they all merge, we can apply the center value in manual mode. Meanwhile, modify the Y to 10. Now we apply the sweep NURBS, with the two paths. To align perfectly the front surfaces, insert in the Z position of the sweep line, -0.1. With this technique, not only can you get the same result as the first, but if you understand the principle, you can create the background you want with the style of your favorite molding around your logo. On original logo the G letter is a little more complex, but this is not relevant. Instead, I want to show you how we can improve the final result by adding the detail of tiny diamonds. Look well this area of the letter. It is a very simple step to make with the cloner tool. As a model of tiny diamond to be repeated, I chose to use a particular polyhedron. After the insert the polyhedron, we set the type dodeca. As inclination, find the position you prefer. In this case, I chose the rotation parameters h and p with 23 and 32 degrees. Obviously the radius in this case is 1.65. As I mentioned, the cloner tool is in linear mode. For the vertical arrangement of y, I set 20 clones with a y-space of about 4.11. With respect to the bases of the letter, the z position is always to -20. If you must have the diamonds on a curve, as for example the S letter, we can set the cloner to object mode, and drag the path inside this line. And the game is done. On this letter, as on others, we have the same style of moldings. But, in this case the only use of the sweep NURBS cannot do all the work. So, after setting the main path, with the bull tool is extracted what we are interested. Quick and easy. Repeat these techniques on your letters and build the Art Deco style that you prefer. Obtain this logo is not a quick job, but if you love this style, the time that you will lose on it will be rewarded. Okay, now we proceed with the insertion of the materials. As the camera in the original video, here we have a mismatch in the x-coordinate. In fact must be slightly off from the logo. The value is about -7. The z position is about -920. To have a great chrome result on the logo, I inserted in Sky Object. And I applied a HDRI material suitable for this project, to get a silver plate very bright. For all parts of the logo has been added to a simple material with the active reflection. View the result. Very elegant. This rough chrome material is optional, because it is applied to a small part of the front of each letter to have a rough bump. On diffusion, bump and displacement I applied a stone texture that I show well. It is a common stone effect. while this is the HDRI texture. Now, I show you how to overcome a small strange problem that occurs when you apply the chrome material on details of lines and holes very thin. This mostly occurs with the letters that have curved parts, as G, S, and finally the B. To overcome this drawback, is not enough simply set to the ambient occlusion at maximum value. For example, I have passed this problem simply with the insertion inside these surfaces, of strategic extrusions with a depth of about -18, and a black matte material on it. Okay, I show you better what I'm talking about. As you can see, this is the problem. In some areas the front surface looks flat without lines. Incredible. But with this step you can correct well this bug rendering. So if you are making your logo with letters that have curves, do not forget this essential step. I forgot for the application of the rough chrome material only front of the loft NURBS interested. Just enter the material as the second, and enter the command C2 in this line. The texture should be applied to cubic mode, of course. These are the areas where must be applied with this method. I repeat, this detail is optional because you only notice if the logo will be rendered in HD. For obtain a chrome result with black and white balance, I chose to set an object color to 80 gray on the document panel, and also disabled the linear workflow together with the input color profile. Now we can proceed with the rendering. In this case we need only one frame of the logo with alpha channel active but large size. More or less like this. We continue with the style composed in After Effects. This is what it looks like, our timeline. The project of After Effects is very simple, but if you not apply the right parameters the result will be not good. Follow me and I show you some interesting passages that have plagued for years some motion designer. The background in this project, for copyright reasons, cannot be included in the project, but as I have already said, that you apply the sweep NURBS technique you can make yours Art Deco moldings with a glossy gold material. As interpolation, in this case we have a simple movement on the Z position. To emphasize a few clear points, I added a filter glow with these parameters. Also the logo has the same method. But in order to better adapt the gray chrome impact over the gold background, on the glow effect, I set 80, 15, and 1.5. But above all, on color A, has this amazing color orange, and B color this pale yellow. The animation of the logo on the Z position must have a movement more accelerated, so after starts together the base at the end must be positioned forward. To improve the impact of the logo during this movement, I chose to add an interpolation of exposure in frame 0 with an impact darker, with 0.26 and 0.9. is with the default values in the frame 38. This simulates a slight inner shadow. Shiny effect that moves like a light over the logo. I just plain duplicated the layer of the logo, and applied an mask path interpolation, that moves the circular mask horizontally. Value is 50. By applying an additional glow with these parameters, and setting the overlapping mode layer on add, the impact is guaranteed. Of course, you can use a rectangular mask instead circular, straight or oblique. Apply what you prefer on your custom shiny effect. For improve the background I added 2 layers black vignette. The first in soft light mode, with opacity to 60 to make the gold color more intense. The second, a classic vignette to darken the external part of the scene. In multiply mode, at 62%. You can set the opacity value as you like. Finally, as the original video we have a black fade-in that starts from the frame 0 to frame 26. And a fade-out that starts from frame 52, and closes to frame 67. Now, comes the fun and interesting part. Many of you think, but it's easy to animate an image on the Z position. But many of you do not know that if you do not set some parameters in the composition panel will not have this result. Show you all the concept. Normally the default values of the shutter angle, and shutter phase of the motion blur, are not these. But 180 and minus 90 degrees. In fact, if we visualize the result with the basic parameters, here is what we get. The image has a terrifying flickering. This is due to the presence of many lines in the scene. But if you apply these settings, of course also on the logo, the end result will be perfect and without the annoying flicker. Cool. I forgot on our logo I added a layer style, drop shadows. With these parameters, improve and complete our 3D logo. 90 opacity, angle of 90 degrees, distance 7 and size 9. OK, add the audio file and proceed with the final rendering. This is the result of our project. I love it. Very elegant. Do not be impressed by the base, the true hardest part is the logo. As I said before, if you love this style, the time that you will lose on it, will be rewarded. OK, I remind you the next appointment for the new tutorial of the Hollywood Movies Titles V5 series. Phantom.